as well.
Okay, I'm letting him in now. Was there anything else that you guys wanted on the agenda? I just sent stuff that I thought we had to cover.
No, I think everybody had said, I mean, Rob sent his update for the pool. I've got Virginia's update for the landscaping. We know about the fence. I mean, your agenda looked good.
Let's just do the fence real quick. So it's already scheduled now. What was the date for that?
Yes.
Just so it's on
Fence
this.
Who's on here? It's just David. Yeah, David. Hi, David. Let me look at the fence. Hang on. Superior fence will be here 3/21 between 8 and 9. And so for them, pretty much fire and forget for the fence. This is for David. This is the fence that is bordering, what is that, Harrisburg Road. The parts of the fence that need to get replaced are being replaced for the townhomes. It's on 3/21 in the morning is when they'll be here probably all day. They're removing, hauling away, and replacing. What we have to do is make sure that we clear the shrubbery, anything that's touching the fence, get it out of their way. One of the townhome owners has already taken pictures, sent over his analysis for Virginia, and she said that she's talking to the landscapers to handle that. That's the update for the fence.
All right. Did you guys decide you want to do anything with pool parking lot signage that we need to vote on? I guess you can't vote because I'm not going to vote for signage. We only have 3 people. We can
Well, yeah, and it would be good to have everybody here for that conversation, right? I know we're all split for it. And I lean towards your way of thinking, Eric. I don't want to put a sign up there. And it's encouraging to see that just, painter's tape and a handwritten note yielded a positive result, which further strengthens your point of no signage. So as of right now, I mean, unless we're forced to, I don't want to put signs up there. I just don't. As long as that keeps working, I'm good with it.
I'm just waiting for like one of those kids that runs into the box to then run into a sign instead and end up in a green box.
Hey, Justin, what is your opinion on that one? I know that you lean towards the side of not caring if somebody parks over there, right? So you're going to be against signs up there. Justin. Okay. Either way, we're not going to pass rules for signs. Justin, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, he's on mute. Did you have to unmute yourself? Did I have to unmute you? I have a thing.
I had to unmute myself. Yeah.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
I don't go either way. I mean, I don't look at the pool every day, so overly it doesn't bother me if it's there for a weekend or two. But yeah, I agree that walking by it, every day and whatnot and seeing something that starts to look trashy when it looks like a used car lot over there. So I'm okay with temporary stuff and temporary parking. And as long as we can keep going with, painter's tape and signs on a window, if it gets out of hand, I'm fine with that. And no need to go a signage route.
Cool. Kick the can down the road. Got it.
All right. Next thing that's the quickest is just the reserve study update. I've sent them the financial documents. Not sure how on top of things this lady's going to be. She doesn't even have like the right phone number on her signature line. She's like, "Oh, I had that number changed because it went to someone else, and I guess I just forgot to take it off my signature line." I was like, "No one's called your number."
Okay, this is going well.
That was real reassuring. But I was supposed to meet with her on Thursday, and she hasn't reached out to me yet this week, so I guess we'll see.
Okay.
She didn't seem like the person that was going to hike through the woods to go see that retaining wall, but she said she was going to Google Maps it and be able to get everywhere without my help. So I don't think she's going to be able to get down to that retaining wall without my help, but to each their own.
And just for, we've got Petra and David on here. Do you want to give a brief overview of what the reserve study actually does? Unless they pop in here and say they already know, in which case don't worry about it.
I don't know. I was just joining to to listen to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The reserve study is what's done every 5 years that shows how much money we need to have in reserves to make repairs that are going to be necessary over the course of the next 30 to 40 years in the neighborhood. That's why we have money that goes toward reserves everywhere. It's based off of this study and then adjustments we make to it.
Boom.
And when is that study being done?
Right now.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Thanks.
I did delete.
All right, so we did that. Reserve study's already done. Done that. Parking lot, we've done, wow, done the fence. Cool. What did Rob say about the pool? Well, hang on, guys. I want to see what Rob said about the pool. I don't remember.
He doesn't have anything for the pool.
Yeah, I didn't think so. There's just no update, but I wanted to see, like, nothing new to add right now. Pool company. They have to work on the drainage area, and that's where we are. We don't have anything else going on, but we've all been here long enough to know that that's Rob's baby, and he always comes through. So pool will be fine in the end, I imagine.
Do you guys think that we might be opening it a little bit earlier than Memorial Day weekends?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're gonna shoot for Memorial Day.
Okay, and I ask only because we try to do like a pool party the weekend that it does open. So that was more my ask, just to kind of try to sync up with when it's opening, especially for like if we were going to get a food truck or a ice cream truck or something. So we'll probably just shoot for Memorial Day weekend or maybe even the weekend after, just to be on the safe side.
And just so I know we're recording right now, so I'll say this, that and I know in the past when we have opened early, it has the pool hasn't been used as much as we thought that it would when we opened it a couple weeks early. And so the common thought now is just open on Memorial Day like everybody else and just keep it on that schedule. And that way you don't have to plan around anything different. The pool company is not planning around anything different. That's just when we open. And I would be very surprised if we opened earlier.
I can tell you it was used a lot last year when we opened early, but it
I
was
know.
also
I think
it was
the
also
reason
warm.
Yeah, I agree. And I think last year it might not have been used as much the weekend it was open, because it was like, hey, the pool's open this weekend. There wasn't really any notice that it was opening except for the day that it was opening. So I think that that's probably why the weekend it opened, it didn't look like it was being used as much because nobody knew about it unless they were looking at Facebook.
No, either way, Memorial Day.
Well, there aren't going to be a big period of time where we can give notice anyways, because we have a contractual start date. And because we don't have attendance other than someone that does clean up in the morning or evening, then if they have someone that can start, we're able to open a week or two early. If they don't, then we can't. We're stuck with the contract date. So we have to pay extra to open early.
And Boyce, I know I think it was the last meeting Kate was on, we were talking about possibly trying to do like a safety course prior to the pool opening. I reached out to where we go to do swim lessons, and they said it wasn't something that they normally do, but they weren't opposed to possibly doing it. So I had to send them an email and just ask what our request was, and then they're going to get back to me to let me know if it's something that they can do. So once I do hear back from them, I'll probably just send you like an email or a note just to see if it's something that we want to do, because there is going to be a fee associated to it. They won't do it for free. But once I get the price, y'all can decide if it's something that the HOA wants to do or not.
We'll of course look at it. We haven't talked about this at all this year on our board chat, so that'll be a new conversation. I know Kate is, and for anybody else listening, Kate is my wife. She wants to do something like that, but I don't know what's in her head about it this year. She brought it up a couple weeks ago, said she needs to do it, and then life got in the way, so she hasn't done anything with it yet. Whenever you find out whatever it is that you find out, Petra, I will pass it to her as well as the board, and then we'll see what she has in mind as well, if she's done any work on her end.
Okay.
And we'll just have to go from there. This is a brand new conversation.
Yeah,
This-
yeah. I just wanted you to pass it on to her because I didn't want her to think that I had forgotten about it because it's
Okay.
crazy how it's the middle of March already.
Okay. I think I don't have anybody here.
Back to actual board business now. All right, so we need to do the 2022 review. I had it up, but then I minimized it since they're talking about pools. Screen share. And this got sent out to everybody February, so the whole board had a chance to look at it. No one checked any math or sent me anything back that I'm aware of, so that's what we're going with. Unless someone found something that I made a mistake on the numbers.
Who, me? No. I have never found a mistake with your numbers.
Okay, well then just the summary then. It has the screen share up, right? So we're on the page.
Yeah, I
with
can see it. You're good.
1,000. Okay. I was just going on the website to see if Rob had posted it. We have the 2022 budget, but I don't know if you updated it with the year-end one.
Yeah, I'm looking as well.
No, I don't know if that's on the website with the year-end one yet.
General ledger. That's 2014. Never mind.
Yeah, I think he just has and I'll have to ask him when I talk to him if he's updating the beginning of the year budget one with the year-end budget, or if he's just leaving the beginning of the year budget one every time. So he might need to go back in and just update those links. Not that anyone ever looks at them. All right, so screen sharing again. So essentially, long story short, we ended up 44,000 under budget. That was partially because we had built in transferring the funds that we saved in 2020 to the 2022 one. And then we're going to do the same thing this year where this savings is going to get transferred into the respective reserve accounts. And then we'll be able to use this for the 2024 budget to hopefully keep the dues about the same, because townhome dues would be escalating significantly without this savings being added in just with the insurance cost. But because we were doing this, it let us keep it the same last year. And then we were under budget in 2022. So hopefully we'll be able to keep everything the same for the next couple of years, but that's for someone else to figure out next year. So essentially all we're going to do is, and this is the same thing, whoever takes over can follow. We take everything from the year end, what the expenses were, where we saved money, and then whatever we come out, yes, technically in the black for us saving money, gets transferred into reserve. So this year it's going to be $28,698.83 that we did not spend in the 2022 budget or common expenses, and then $15,919.44 that we didn't spend from townhome budgets. So those amounts get transferred into reserves, and they're there if they're needed for reserves. But if they're not, what we've been doing is transferring it back in the following year to offset any budget increases that are needed that would raise the annual dues. So this just has the biggest savings. It was the townhome maintenance that we saved on purpose because we knew we were doing the tree, but then we separated the tree trimming into, for the 3 townhome owners that actually will watch this. The tree trimming did not all get put as a townhome expense. It got split between the townhomes and the common expenses. So that actually ended up being cheaper than we were initially anticipating, because I think it was over half of the work was the front crepe myrtles on Almond Glen Lane was more significant trimming than around the townhomes. So I think it ended up a little over 50-50 split, something like that. But don't quote me on the exact division. We have it in the in the numbers when we did the transfers. Electricity was under, which keeps being under for the last couple of years. So if someone really wants to, they can lower that budget line item. Clubhouse repairs, it offset the pool maintenance overage, so that didn't really affect anything. And then we had that $3,200 check from DHEC where we had to pay out the fine in we paid it out in 2021, the pool fine, but then we got the check back from them in 2022. So that was just an extra $3,000 in that year. That was because we had to pay out money that was getting reimbursed to us at the end of 2021. The overages were insurance because that keeps increasing ridiculously. I adjusted even further based on what the insurance person told us last year. So hopefully we're not off by $3,700 again. Should be a little bit closer, but insurance has been going up like crazy in South Carolina just on the claims. And we have a unique type of insurance that most carriers do not provide because it's only the exterior of a building. So that makes it a little bit tougher. So right now there is no other insurance company that provides the insurance coverage that we need for our townhomes. So if someone in the townhomes or on the board wants to try to save insurance money, go for it. I've tried a couple different times, and this is currently the only option as of like 6 months ago when I talked to them. So in case someone else starts offering it, someone can look for it, but that's where it is for that. The accounting overage was just because we had 2 audits billed to the same year. And that's about it for that. The reserve account information, that's just where we are compared to plan. Hopefully everybody on the board knows. Other people probably won't if they don't read their dues letters, but the way we had been lowering the single family dues as well as keeping the townhome dues level was making contributions for future reserve contribution amounts back in, I think we did it in 2022. We made the contributions for common 2023 and 2024. So that's why that was an extra like $30,000-$40,000 that we didn't have to do assessments for because we moved it out of operating. 2023 reserve fund contributions, line 28. That's what is going to get transferred when I send the email out tomorrow. It's not really something we have to vote on because it's just the money getting transferred that was savings from last year. So if you guys want to do a vote, we can, but that's what's going to get transferred. If you want to do a vote on transferring that, Boyce.
This is where you're putting it in a CD, right?
What?
The transfer you're talking about is where you put it into a CD, or are you talking about the transfer just moving it from operating to reserves?
Those would move from operating to the respective reserve accounts. And then if we want to move it into CDs, that would be something separate that we vote on because the best CD rates are at 1 year. Our bank is at 3.5 when I checked with them last month. It might be a little bit higher now, but it's way better than it was before. Like our reserve study is based on like 0.25 and 0.5 interest because it used to be so bad. So the stuff that's in CDs now obviously is tied up at, I think, somewhere around 1%. But we should be moving available money into the reserve CD. I'm going to stop the screen share real quick so I can go to the current balance sheet and see where we're at. Next, the one CD has 400,000 in it that matures in August. So that's going to need to get put into another CD with a 3.5 or higher interest rate. The current reserve account that's not in a CD for common has 100,000 in it. The townhomes have 32. But when we move the money over, we might as well put some of this into CDs as well.
What was the interest rate we got in October last year?
I don't remember. I think
I
it
don't
was
remember either.
1, maybe 1.5.
Was it really?
I thought it was even a little higher than that.
I thought it was too. Well, shows what I know.
I don't know. Go look in your emails. You'll be able to find it probably as quickly as I can, because I'll have everything else that has CD on it.
That's all right. I mean, it's in the CD until October. We can't get to it till October. It's fine. I mean, if we find it, great. But I was just curious. You
No.
said the balance for
Those
these
come
is
due, and they both mature in August.
August. Okay.
It's after we set it up, so it was after the new board takes over at the next meeting. They can move stuff if they want to, do whatever the hell they want with the reserve money. But we should probably put some in now at 3.5. I'm assuming interest rates are still going to keep going up over the next year, but we don't really need it just sitting there because we have way more in reserves than we're actually going to be expending this year. I think we had 20,000 budgeted. I have to pull up the 2023 one. But I can just send something out separate, or we can wait 2 months to put it in later on.
I'd like to talk about it sooner rather than later. So if you want to send something out, let's just either make the decision now or.
I mean, that's going to have to be a board vote at a board meeting. It's not going to get, we're not transferring $50,000 into a CD based on a group text. So either he's going to have to call another meeting, or we could say
Okay.
it's going now.
No, we'll wait until we're all on, at least most of us are on the call before we do something like that. Anyway, I'm sorry to derail your budget conversation. You wanted to bring up the balances, right?
No, that's fine. That's pretty much everything. So
Okay.
we're good. I'm just going to do the
Cool.
transfers to the reserve, and then the whole amount should be there.
Nice.
Well, that's not going to be till we get to March. We won't even have those numbers in a spreadsheet from AMG until, I'm guessing, end of April. So we'll have to get just an updated balance list before the meeting.
Okay. All right, we did that. Budget review, transfer of reserves. You got that on here. Cool.
Ashley, do you know when we'll get the February financials?
Sorry, I was talking and you couldn't hear me because I didn't unmute myself. You should have those tomorrow. I've already sent them to Danielle to review. So you should have them tomorrow.
Okay. Did you figure out what was going on with the 23,000 that you were sending me? I think.
Yeah, I had Danielle look at the budget. She tweaked it some. She went in there. It doesn't look pretty, but so I'll send you the budget tomorrow. You'll be able to look at it and see what I'm talking about, because we have to base the budget on a cash basis and not on an accrual basis. And I think the your budget that you do for the community, which is an awesome budget, but it's more of accrual method. But our accounting uses cash, so we have to show expenses and income, and they are supposed to match. But with the transfers that are coming in from previous years, it's messing up my bottom numbers, so it doesn't look pretty. But if Danielle is okay with it, then I am okay with it. She's the one that's really, wants it a specific way. But if she's okay with it, I'm okay with it, and we are good to go. But I'll send you the budget so you can take a look at it tomorrow. She just did it for me this afternoon.
Okay. And then, they said when I sent the stuff to the bank, they said that you guys I guess we said the management company has the CD rates. So do I just get those from you whenever we're going to do the CDs, or do we still need to reach out to the bank? I was trying to figure out how you would have them and not the bank.
Luann would already have them. So I can just reach out to Luann. It's not a big deal. But we can get them. We can get them. Not a big
Okay, so we just need to ask you then, and not try to figure out who still works at the bank.
Correct. All right. So when do you want that by?
Want what? The CD rate?
Yeah. Do you want anything new like right now? Or you want it from 2 months from now? What are you thinking?
Ask Boyce. I don't care. I can do it whenever.
Well, it's going to be, we do 2 months from now, right? We have to have a meeting. I'm not going to call a special meeting for it. So 2 months.
Okay. CD rates, 2 months. I will make that happen.
Well, right now, all the money sitting in reserves is getting like 0.2 or 0.25% interest. I think, yeah, because it's not 500,000 because we moved into CDs. So we're basically losing 3% interest for every dollar that's sitting there, the longer we leave it there. So I would not recommend sitting on it for 2 months. But I'm one vote and I'm not on the board next year, so you guys decide how you want to do it.
So did the rates change that? And I'm asking because I don't know. Do they change that quickly? 2 month delay will cause that dramatic of a difference between this conversation and then?
No, it's just the time that you start the CD because it's going to be a 1-year CD. So that money would start accruing now versus sitting there for 2 months making 0.2 or 0.3% interest when it
I
could
see what you mean.
3.5.
And how much do you want to put in there? That part I wasn't following. How much do you want to put in there?
I'd have to look at it. It would be probably 100,000 for the common, and then I would guess probably, depending on how much goes in right now and what we have for townhome expenses, it's probably going to be about 50 for townhomes can go in.
Okay, leaving how much for each for reserve for the common and then townhomes? How much would be left in there or left available?
Probably 30 to 50. I mean, it really doesn't matter because we still have enough money in the operating account to cover anything that we were going to pay out of reserves.
Yeah. I entered this conversation not quite liking the idea of moving our money over to a CD just because I am too conservative for that. But the more that I hear the numbers, the more I like it.
You're too conservative for the most conservative investment.
Yes, I'm too conservative for that. I don't know. We can have a meeting that's to decide this. Justin, what are you thinking? Is this a moot point? Do you even agree with moving money over to the over to a CD? I'm leaning on the side of I would agree with that, but what do you think?
I completely agree with it. Anything we can do to make our money create more money.
Cool.
And as long as we maintain enough for operating expenses, I have no issue whatsoever moving stuff over.
All
Yeah,
right.
none of this would even affect operating expenses. That all gets covered with the assessments and stuff in the operating account. So this is all just the money that's in reserves, and I'll have to pull up the reserve.
Yeah, then I say move it, and the sooner the better.
And then the other question that I had is, I know that there's a limit to how much, I don't know if it's how much we can make or what we can do with it, but when we actually make money on the CDs, what does that look like for us as a board? What can we do with the money that we make? Is there a limit to how much we can make? Those kinds of things.
Ashley, you have anything for that? I don't know.
What?
There is a certain percentage, and I'm going to have to reach out to Luann. We discussed it a long time ago when you guys started moving the funds over to the CDs. Since you are a nonprofit, there's a fine line that you have to balance to make sure that you can still be considered not for profit. So let me reach out to Luann and see what that limit would be.
I would be shocked if 3 to 4% interest is anywhere close to being nonprofit. It's all just going back into the community to cover expenses.
Yeah, I would be shocked as well, but better safe than sorry to ask.
So right now our reserve expenses that are supposed to be coming out this year, it's 42,000 for townhomes and 33,000 for common. In the past, we haven't needed to spend it all, so there's actually extra savings that are in the reserves. That's why I was trying to wait until we had the reserve study done, which maybe we just do that, wait till the reserve study is done before we do any CD transfers, because I'm expecting them to come back and tell us that we are saving at a higher rate than we need to. Because we haven't had to pay certain expenses. And then out of the townhomes, those roofs that had to get replaced that were a big money item, 4 of them got replaced for close to pennies on the dollar because we did it through insurance claims instead of having to actually replace those entire roofs ourselves. So that was 4 roofs for the townhomes and 1 for the pool, which would have been a common expense. So I would be shocked if we weren't ahead of where we should be when they redo the reserve study.
Okay. but that should be coming out soon though, right? I mean, that's expected.
I'll have to talk to her on Thursday, but I would assume it's not going to take more than another couple weeks once she comes out here to finish putting it together.
All right, so we've got a couple weeks for the reserve study. Let's assume that they're going to come back saying exactly what you said. Then there's no reason to wait 2 months. So Ashley, when it comes to the percentages we can get on a CD, can we make it just 1 month then instead of 2 months?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we could literally just send Ashley an email and get it the next day from Lou.
Oh,
Like
Pretty much. Yep.
Oh, all right, I thought it was a thing. Okay. All right,
There we go.
I closed the agenda. Sorry. I think that was everything on the agenda. Eric, do you have anything else to cover?
Nope, that should be everything.
Okay. Justin, did you have anything that you wanted to cover?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right. I know, David, you want to go over landscaping at the townhomes on your side, right?
Yeah, I know some of this is going to sound broken record-ish and things like that, but we're going in the spring and things like that. And I know we've talked about how shade affects the grass and everything like that. And I mean, I think we're getting to the point now where would things be better off by losing a tree or two out there in order for grass to grow, as well as trying to figure out ways to divert drainage so that things aren't puddling up and hurting the grass more, causing mold and things like that in the yards and things of that nature. I think trying to figure out ways of having downspouts or things like that that are extended out so that the water's not just completely ponding up and pooling up in the yards and having mud go into the parking lots and things of that nature, especially in the areas where there's no grass and it's just dirt. And trying to figure out how to do that so that we can get grass growing once the spring season comes upon us.
So the first thing that pops in my head, well, first, you're right. We have talked about removing trees before. There's something like $800 each to remove a tree, grind the stump, move it away, all that. Then we have to deal with growing grass. It's an option, just an expensive one, but it is an option. The drainage, on the other hand, I wanted to weigh in on that. Your idea was to extend the downspouts and move the gutters down to, I think it was street level, right? To divert it away from just pooling in the grass. That was your idea.
Yep.
So the issue, I mean, I'm just thinking of what that would look like. And I can imagine someone kicking it. I can imagine a kid running over it with a bike, getting whacked with weed whackers. It's just a lot of extensive pipe. But I'm wondering how feasible it would be to do something with gravel. I don't know, shave a couple inches off of the grass, lay gravel down and line it with stone. I don't know, something like that, and divert it that way. I have no idea what that would cost, but would it even look good?
That would be our biggest concern is, what the look would be like. But if, a landscaper could give us an idea of both cost and the look of it all, definitely be interested in at least discussing that and trying to figure that part out.
Okay. It is worth discussing because we've talked about this for quite a while. I'd like to know how much that costs and how it fits into the budget. Eric, do you have any opinions financially on in the area he's talking about on the corner there? How much we can throw at a project to get grass to grow, whether it's removing the trees or diverting water or a combination of them.
That corner is the steepest slope in the townhomes, isn't it?
I believe so, David.
Pooling there.
I'm sorry?
Isn't your side yard steep?
The side yard is steep. The front area is pooling, but combined between the two, the steepness of it is pouring mud into the area, into the road, and kind of just having the dirt just pour out of there. And then the front area, the small little front area in front by our back door area just pools water because it's not swaled or anything like that for water to divert off.
Let's talk about a dollar figure. Because I just don't know where that would fall on the budget. What do we have any available money to throw at a project like this so we have something to work with? You know, is $500 too much? Is $5,000 too much? You're in the budget much more than any of us combined. What do you think, Eric?
It's the same thing we run into every time. Are we going to spend 64 townhomes money to fix a yard that doesn't grow grass great? I mean, I wouldn't do that, but if there's a feasible reason that that needs to be done and there's 4 or 5 other yards that it needs to be done, then
I
you'd have
think
to
from the pure look of it
it's
all,
not built into the operating budget.
I mean,
I hear you.
shouldn't the look of what some of these yards are looking like be a feasible reason to do it?
I don't know why we have this conversation every meeting. I mean, it's the same thing. If you want to spend $3,000 making your yard look amazing, you can. If voting as a group to spend collective community money on one yard, I would not vote to do that. If there were 4 or 5 yards that were like, these are big issues, I don't think your yard's a big issue. I don't.
You don't think having a yard that can't grow grass is a big issue?
There are several yards in the neighborhood that don't have great grass. Some are full of weeds, and
100%. And I think that they need to be addressed too. This is not just a selfish thing. This is to try to get the yards in the neighborhood that need to be looked at, something done.
and that's something awesome that if you want to be on the board and take over the ARC reviews and inspections in June when I leave the board, that would be a great thing you could do. And everyone will love you for it. Well, actually, maybe like 3 people. Everyone else will not like you because they don't want stuff enforced.
So we just throw up our hands and say we want crappy looking yards. Because we've had this, you're right, we have had this conversation a lot. We're getting back into the season where grass could possibly grow, and it's going to be another season where we can't do anything.
No, it's a season where you can do anything you want with your money to your yard. It's another season where if you want to do something,
I
it
pay
needs to
money
be a
into the
community thing.
HOA
And
just
I'm-
like everybody else does. And
David, I understand that, and I'm
Yeah.
going to end this call pretty soon because I have a 1-month-old and I sleep like 3 hours a night. So I'm not going to debate the same thing I talk to you about every 2 months. If you put together a plan and you say these 17 yards all need this done, you put together a plan that said my yard needs $3,000. I would never vote for that. If you convince 3 people on this
I'm
board,
not asking for that.
then you're fine.
That is not what I'm asking for.
I'm
That
just telling you,
was-
you just need 3 people on the board to vote to spend $1,000 or $100,000 on your yard. I mean, someone might sue the board for being fiscally irresponsible, but you only need to convince 3 out of 5 people to do it. If you're one of those, you only need to convince 2 people. So if you want to spend your money, you can spend as much as you want. If you want to spend neighborhood money, you have to convince 3 people on the board to spend that money on your yard. That's the same thing as before. I will not be one of them. That's why I said in June, you can be on the board and you'll have one of your 3 votes. And then you just have to convince 2 people.
I think Eric touched on an item that I was going to bring up anyway, so I'll continue that part of it. Said if you can find, if there's a commonality, I think your number was 17 yards, but it doesn't have to be 17. So right now we're talking about your slice of paradise, David. But it also sounds like, and I don't live over there, so I don't know as intimately as you do, but it does sound like this is an issue that is not specific to just David. It sounds like it's an issue that is spread out among the community. And so from that perspective, maybe instead of trying to solve just the issue around your immediate area, we need to look at the other areas in the townhomes that are not growing grass, and definitely get with Virginia too, because she's answered some of these questions already. You know, we've got sprinkler heads that are broken. There's a few other things that were causing that to happen. And then if we did this as a holistic project for all of the townhomes and wrapped it all together, we found out what the issue was and proceed that way. I think that might be more palatable because you have more townhome owners that will be positively affected by it. So maybe that's the direction that we need to go. That's a decent sized project, but it's doable. We do have a townhome committee, and we do have a Virginia who has lived and breathed the landscaping over there and around the neighborhood for years. So would that be more acceptable to you, to try to look at a more holistic solution for everybody that's having problems like yours?
And I think I've been totally taken out of context here. I want this for everybody. That's the whole point. I want the neighborhood as a whole to look better.
Then I'll accept fault for that, for losing focus and just trying to isolate on your issue, because I can picture in my mind your issue. I've looked at it several times. I can't picture in my mind the rest. So I'll switch my mindset to a bigger project, to the townhomes. So we need to identify where the problem areas are. And then we have to figure out if Virginia's already reviewed those with the landscapers to see what the reason is, and then see how we can remedy it. Let's go that direction. And I would be behind it. And I think a lot of townhome owners would love it too, if we could do something like that. But what I don't want to do is, especially the permanence of removing trees, mature trees that we've got there. I don't want to do that unless it just makes sense. I understand that producing sunlight would help, but I'm hesitant to agree to that, because I know how old it would take 10 years to get the tree to grow back there if we ever wanted to. But that's getting off subject. Let's go down that road, if you're okay with it. If you want to send me pictures, or I can give you all our numbers, you can text me, Virginia, and you and the townhome committee, however you want to do it. Figure out where the problem areas are. Let's cross-reference that with what she's already found and see how to fix this before the springtime, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's literally like going up and down the entire row of townhomes down Lanark and that area, and I'm sure even beyond that. And I'd be happy to walk people down and just kind of show what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Just talk it through. Because again,
Okay.
I don't want it to seem like I'm just being some selfish jerk that's only out for number one. Yes, this affects me too, but it affects everybody up and down this row. And they just not be as loud as I am. And I don't mean to be the obnoxious guy, but I'm going to be a little obnoxious about it, because I think it could look better.
I agree. I think we all agree to that. Just a matter of how we're going to do it. But also, kind of segueing off of that part of the conversation, you and I had talked about it offline a little bit, but and unfortunately, well, I can't say unfortunately, Eric, you sure as heck earned it. But Eric is stepping away from the board this year, and that does have a vacant spot. The treasurer, we understand, is just such a huge deal, and if somebody wants to do the treasurer gig that is not on the board, that is workable. So that position does not have to be specifically those types of Eric duties that he has been killing for the last however many years. So let's take the treasurer responsibilities as Eric performs them off the table for the moment. How would you feel about trying to join the board in the election cycle to represent the townhomes?
100%. Yeah, no, I'm definitely all in. Love to talk to you further about it, but yes, 100%.
Cool deal. It's a step in the right direction. So we have somebody who wants to run. Now we have to figure out how in the heck we're going to get somebody to do what Eric does. All right. With that, does anybody else have anything to talk about? Okay. Thanks for the time, everybody. Eric, do you just stop recording or just close it? What happens now?
You adjourn the meeting. We all say good
Being
night.
adjourned.
Go
There
get a
we go.
drink.
Yep, now stop
No.
recording and go to bed.
That now. Thanks, everybody. Meeting adjourned. Have a good night.
See you.